So, how I got into the Monkees. Well, this guy at my school actually, who got me into the Beatles, started emailing me about the Monkees for whatever reason, and he told me all this basic stuff about the Monkees, like how they were originally a TV show band, and how they originally didn't know each other, and stuff like that. And I got the same basic thoughts that I think everyone used to have, like, oh, so they were a TV show band. They didn't really know each other. They actually didn't play their own instruments at some point. And I thought they were an actual band, and I didn't take them seriously at first, which is, I know, kind of bad, but you know. And I think it was around November of this year, late November, that I started giving them a chance. The same guy actually sent me a playlist of all of or most of Mike's songs, and I really dug them. So I started watching more of their episodes and listening to more of their songs. I was actually able to listen to all of their albums up to Changes, and it's history from there. So from that, you might have deduced who my favorite Monkee is. And if you didn't, it's Mike, definitely Mike. And I think my liking to him stemmed from the same time, late November, when around Thanksgiving, I mean, it didn't stop there. Again, that's the same guy that I talked about a while ago. He sent me a playlist of Mike's songs, and I thought, okay, sounds pretty cool. I think I really like his style. So I kind of got attached to him because of his songs. Oh my gosh, his songs, especially Don't Wait For Me, which I'm going to get into later. But to be honest, he looks really attractive. Oh my gosh, sorry, that was weird. But, I mean, kind of pulls off a cool, slick look. And also on the show, he was just always cool with his humor. And, I mean, I'm not usually into southern country stuff, but like his accent actually doesn't bother me, and it's actually kind of cool, and like, I don't know, I just really like him. I'm sorry. Okay, let's pretend that didn't happen. So next, what are my favorite songs, or what is my favorite song? I actually can't pick one, but I'll just pick 3 off the top of my head. First, and finally, also from Instant Replay, is Don't Wait For Me. Finally, I get to talk about this song by, almost said Mike Nesmith. Mike Nesmith. And, where do I start? Okay, so this was actually originally part of a playlist that guy sent me. And the first time I listened to it, I could have sworn I almost cried. It was such an emotional song. I know I've said that before, but it is a really emotional song for me. Not because it was connected to anything personal, but it sounds really emotional. And honestly, Mike's voice in this, it is so emotional. I'm sorry. It is so emotional. And it really conveys that feeling of heartbreak and regret really well. And honestly, the first time I listened to this, I remember telling that dude that, oh, you know what? This song reminds me of him strumming his guitar, just staring off into a sunset, just thinking about the love he just lost. And honestly, whenever I listen to that song, I kind of always think about that, and it just kind of makes the experience for me better. And it's kind of why, well, I'm about to talk about that. Which is why my favorite album out of the ones I've listened to is Instant Replay. Well, one of the reasons. First off, 2 of my favorite songs, The Girl I Left Behind Me and Don't Wait For Me, are on that album. And the rest of the songs are so good. Like While I Cry, You and I, oh my gosh, You and I love that song. And Mickey's songs are actually not half bad. I'm not saying that his songs are bad, I'm saying that they're really good. Like, of course I don't hate Nicki songs. I love Sometime in the Morning. But Shorty Blackwell, honestly, I didn't like it at first, but I've grown to like it a lot. And I know Peter's not on the album and he wasn't in the band at the time it was recorded, but it's not that I don't miss Peter when it was recorded. It's just that I like it so much I kind of forgot about it. I hope that didn't sound mean. That's not what I was trying to do, but oh dear, how can I do this? It sounds so good. Like, I don't know. I don't see why this album doesn't get more appreciation. It's a really good album. Like Someday Man and Man Without a Dream. Both great baby songs. Both really good. And what's that one called? I Won't Be the Same Without Her. Classic Mike song. Just, it sounds like something that would be on one of their original 2 albums, which I think it was an extra recording on the deluxe edition of The Monkees, which is probably why I like it so much. And again, Nicki's songs aren't half bad. Like Through the Looking Glass, I personally prefer the version that was on, I think, more of The Monkees, but honestly, it's really not that bad. So, I'd say you guys should give it a listen soon. It's really good. Now, getting away from songs, if I had to choose a favorite episode out of all of the ones that I've watched so far, which by the way, I haven't actually watched all of the seasons yet. I'm sorry. It would have to be The Chaperone. Definitely The Chaperone. First off, where was I going with that? Sorry. Anyways, first off, Mickey in that episode as Mrs. Arcadian. Oh my gosh. I mean, I just have to say that he really pulls off being in drag. I mean, I don't know why. I think it's the hair probably, but it looks really good on him. And obviously, everybody else thought the same. That general guy, the landowner guy, I'm sorry, I don't remember their names, I'm sorry. But anyways, another reason. Parodying. They parodied a lot of stuff. According to a Tumblr post I saw, they parodied, I think, My Fair Lady, and obviously Tarzan. And honestly, again, jokes on point, always on point. And of course, Davy falls in love with another girl, always a fun trope, and I don't know what else to say. It's just a really good episode. Okay, so weirdest confession from me about the Monkees. It's actually not that weird, but I still think it's weird. So, I've actually made my ringtone early December of 2017 of Circle Sky. And it's the first part of the song with Mike's guitar and, a bunch of instrumental. And it went like this. And knowing how the part goes, well, you can see how awkward that gets. And I know better than to put my ringtone at full volume, but when it does go off, when the sound is on, in a public place, and it gets it out one part, well, I think you can see how awkward that gets for me. And it earns a lot of stares from people, especially my sisters. Now, other random non-monkey related stuff about me. Once again, my name is Kirsten. I'm 16 and I like other stuff. For one, I really like the Beatles. It was actually the band that I was really into and still am really into before the Monkees. And it kind of introduced me into the whole genre of classic rock. And speaking of other bands that I really like, I also really like the Beach Boys. I make this comparison a lot with people that the Beach Boys are pretty much a barbershop quartet on steroids. And honestly, I stand by that. Their harmony and their vocals are on point. They're like just